Welcome to my channel. For this Halloween I decided to film a short video about my 5 best Halloween works. When I selected books, when I selected pictures, I realized that I actually do one decent Halloween picture for a year. So it will be kind of a retrospective of the previous 5 or 6 years. Many years ago, when my book collection was much smaller, I mostly selected Halloween pictures among something horror, disgusting, and that's when Alan Robert books were among my favorites. I still like them. I really appreciate quality because paper here it's absolutely amazing. I just think that during last several years it's enough horror around me in real life, so I simply don't have enough mental strength to color pictures in such style. But I'm sure that one day maybe I will want to return to them. So in Alan Robert, I decided to select this one. I remember that when I did it, and yes, it was really more than 5 years ago, for me it was a big achievement. First of all, I very rarely color in a limited color palette, and here I did it. Then it wasn't very easy for me then to shade light objects. Here we have those bone skulls, and they are not simply shaded with only gray color. No, they also have a little bit of reflection of light yellow, cream, and even those beige rose colors. I think that it's really made picture much more interesting. So that's technical reasons why I love it. I remember that when I did the main image and frame also, it still didn't look completed, and then I decided to add this kind of smoke around them, like they are appearing from the magical mirror, and it's small addition, but it really completed, finished this look. I did it using a very diluted white paint, so it looks quite transparent, but the background is still visible, and I think that it was a nice final touch to this page. So that's my number 1 in my horror Halloween list. Then I realized that I actually prefer Halloween pictures where we have pumpkins and witches. And another good example of long work but very interesting work, it's a romantic country second tale, where I did the whole street of witch shops. Of course, I was inspired by Harry Potter, by Diagon Alley. I will adjust my camera so you will be able to see the whole street. Now when I look at it, I can tell myself, oh my god, you finished such a detailed work. But I remember that indeed it was long. I did a wise thing. I colored one shop after another, so it didn't felt overwhelming. I did breaks between videos, between parts of this picture, and in such a way I was able to treat each of the shops as a separate project. And even now the idea of coloring each of the building could sound strange for me. Somehow the final picture, it looks really well balanced. Maybe because buildings on the two sides, they slightly similar in color with a lot of mahogany red, orange, brown colors, and the central building it's totally different in palette, and it's nicely divided two parts. So a lovely street. I remember that it was probably the first time when I managed to achieve this effect, when we have very vibrant warm light coming inside of the buildings from the windows, from the doors, and also this magical red light, and around everything is black. So before I didn't manage to create more or less suitable gradient. Here I think that it looks quite lovely, all those reflections on the dark street, and I still enjoy looking at it. All those lovely small elements like those cauldrons, owls, and magical potions. It was very fun to color, so definitely it's one of my best Halloween works. Next, I did this spread in Fairy Celebrations by Klara Markova. When I looked at it, I always knew that I wanted to try to do orange, red, yellow background, but I wasn't able which brand of pencils to use. In the end, I finished with the whole page done with Prismacolors, but for the background I used polychromoses. I think that polychromoses, they have amazing palette of yellow, orange, 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 red colors. They look, I don't know, maybe less vibrant, no, maybe not more vibrant comparing to Prismacolors. So it was easier to select yellow, yellow, orange, clean orange, orange, almost a red color. So, and in the end, I finished it with black raspberry. I think that everyone who has a Prismacolor set can recognize many of Prismacolor colors. So, also long work, because I tried to work carefully on each of the elements. All those sweets, fruits, I tried to analyze. Where will be reflection from the fire? Where will be shadow? And I wanted to create this three-dimensional look, so I tried to divide like several areas of grass, starting from the foreground to the background. Now, when I look at it, I think that I put all my skills, all my efforts into this one, so for me it's still very pleasurable coloring, and I have a lot of fond memories about the time when I did it. I was very pleased with myself, with all my color choices. Usually I struggle a lot with such detailed pictures in Klara Markova, but somehow, fortunately, here it was relatively easy coloring. Next, we have Nelko Neko, and it will be a spread again. But when I looked at this spread, I realized that I absolutely don't have no patience, either patience or time to do everything with regular pencils. Prismacolors are my favorite media for this paper. Prismacolors work really well here, so I knew that I will be using them for cats, for the clothes, for their fur, but what to do with the background. And that's where I, for the first time, used Neocolor crayons to create this sky, and also Derwent Inktense, both for the trees and for the grass, and I think that even for the pumpkins. Only small work, some additional shading I did with regular pencils. And that was the moment when I discovered how well Inktense work on this paper. And for me it was a kind of time-saving discovery. Since that time I used Inktense on many of my works in this book, and I think that it's a perfect combo when you're able to do basic color, and then yes, I added color accents. Those green colors, that's Inktense, but shading I added with slightly more purplish and gray shades, that's regular pencils. Still, it was enough work because we have cats, and all of them I tried to do with different color of fur, and all those light fabrics I also tried to do in different way. I hope that my camera will be able to show that shading on the baby costume and on the mummy costume, they were made in different way. Slightly more grayish lavender and cream here, and cold gray and bluish colors for this one. My favorite part here, it's obviously this fashionable mother. I love her dress, I love her hat and coat, but this one also is very lovely. I think that Nelko Neko created a very lovely picture, but all pictures in this book, they are lovely. Well, unfortunately for this year, I wasn't able to do Halloween picture I really wanted. Next time, I hope that my next project will be this one. But, well, it will have to wait for the next year colorings. But This one I definitely consider as one of my best works. My favorite colors, all those warm greens, dark purples, dark violets, dark blues, and good contrast to the vibrant orange. So definitely my favorite color combo for Halloween. And finally, I included in this list work which I did this year. It wasn't as pleasurable as previous one, mostly because of the paper. I still struggle a little bit, even if I adjusted to this paper, and I think that I have learned how to use Prismacolors in this Japanese edition of Symphony of Cute Animals. But still, some of the areas, especially areas which are closer to the binding, sometimes it's not very easy to cover properly. But the general image, I think that it's very nice, very lovely, very similar color palette. I think that I mostly use the same colors for all my Halloween pictures. I love this one because I was able to color a lot of cute animals, and I absolutely enjoyed doing these sweets. So I'm glad that this year I did page which is decent enough to put into my favorite list. Yes, I love all my October Halloween pictures, but I had to select one which I considered the best, maybe also because of the efforts which I put into this one despite the quality of paper, because I also loved pictures in Jasmine Beckett Griffiths which I did this month, but they are easier to color thanks to the high quality paper. This one I did despite all the problems, and that's why I included it. And again, quite happy that even if I wanted to do more, because there are more lovely Halloween pictures, but again, this one I will be able to color next year. At least I hope. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you also did some fun Halloween pictures during this October.